Hello guys, welcome back to another live stream. And it's I don't know if it's going to be a good one, guys. There's a very bad sentiment in the markets. Just quickly, housing market looks like it's about to crash. Tech stocks are in for an absolute disaster. So all of those that are relying on ad revenue, that's not looking good. And then further, we're seeing bond yields go down because the price is going up, and we're seeing gold go up. So these are some very bad signs. We'll get into this, exactly what it means in a second. But before we do that, we always have to say hello to our best friend, AJ. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, well, not too good with the market sentiment at the moment, but we'll get onto some of the TA. The TA sort of saying the same stuff as well, so we'll get onto that in a moment. But yeah, not too good.
No, exactly. And this is exactly where we're going to be able to highlight exactly what is happening. Like, we know that the market is down. We see Bitcoin. There are going to be some price prediction, guys. So make sure that you kind of stick around of targets that we're looking out for, and also why Bitcoin is down so much. And just before we get into everything, like I've said down in the comments, make sure you stick around, because at the end we will be giving away $50 to one of you guys who ask a question. We will answer it, and then we will choose somebody at random and give them $50, just like we did yesterday. And that will be happening every day this week in the Satoshi Society. So without further ado, I am going to show you just this article from Bloomberg. And I'm going to start, guys, just as you might already know, I like to find out what's happening in the wider markets and then how that applies specifically to what's going to happen with Bitcoin, because there is, undeniably that relationship there. So first bit of news is the new home sales in April, they plunged. So they missed expectation by quite a long way, to be honest. And then we see that gold has in fact gone up. Bond yields have gone down. And just in case, for those of you who don't know, if a bond, so it's a US government bond, you buy it from the government, pretty bad return, but supposed to be super secure. If lots of people want it, the price goes up, and that means that the yield goes down. So whenever we see the yield go down, it means that everybody's moving to a safe asset. Just in the same way, when a bond yield goes down or the price goes up, we see that gold goes up in price because lots of people are moving towards that safety. Now, that kind of draws people away from tech and from more risky assets. And I just want to touch on this. So Snapchat, they are going to be releasing their earnings. Now, what they've said is, prior to actually releasing the earnings, they've said, look, guys, the revenue we're getting from advertising is not really that good. And they said that there's going to be a massive stunter of growth from the revenue sector. Now, if we have a look as to what effect that had on Snapchat stock, it just went straight from here, boom, down 40%. That is unbelievable. So just in that massive gap, opening up today, boom, you're down by 40%. It's absolutely killer. And then we look at maybe someone like Google. Again, we have a similar gapping down effect. Boom, another gap down from 22,000 to 2,000. And again, the same story is true with Facebook, for example, or Meta. So just want to show you that very quickly. So this is what you need to take away from this, is that tech stocks are going down, essentially. And this is going to drag the whole of the Nasdaq in one direction. It's not a good direction, which also is kind of why we're seeing a flee away from things like Bitcoin. And I want to show you some of those charts in a second. But just generally, this is kind of irrelevant, but we're seeing here. So yeah, stocks. S&P fell, Nasdaq fell hard, Dow Jones also fell, whatever. Yields have gone up. So should we see here? Yields have gone down. Obviously, price has gone up, demand has gone up, gold has gone up, and then also crude oil has gone up. Now, what you want to be aware of this week on Wednesday, we've got the FOMC minutes. So this is where, all the Fed, they meet up and you get to find out what they're talking about. AJ, I know you mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, the digital asset inflows. So yeah, we like to keep up to date with this, don't we? Do you want to tell the guys kind of what we're seeing here?
Yeah, so as you can see on Ben's screen right there, weekly outflows for Bitcoin, is minus 500 230 million. So a lot of people, a lot of institutions, they're taking their money out of Bitcoin, and it's clear to see, and putting it into safer assets, and you can see that on the charts for gold, because gold is increasing in price. So a lot of these institutions are probably putting their money into the likes of gold, which is a lot, they consider to be a lot safer.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. And so they asked. There's still always that little bit of appetite. Like it's not that much, but multi-asset there is some appetite in. But in specific coins, there is just very, very little. Yes, overall it's nice to see that they have was that 25 billion AUM. That's good, but at the end of the day, it's just kind of negative across the board, really. I think last week it was fairly positive, wasn't it? Or was it the week prior?
Yeah, it was the week prior. I think it was around 289 million inflows.
That's fantastic. But they've obviously realized that actually the market's in more of an uncertain state, which should be a big red flag for us, normal guys, to see that institutions thought, I'm going to buy in, and now they've actually cut their positions, and that might be a bit of a capitulation. Again, similar story. We're still holding relatively stable, but pretty much we are moving to the downside for this is DeFi Llama. So this is total value locked into DeFi projects. So, I don't really need to say too much. The colors kind of, was it a picture paints 1,000 words?
And there's a lot
of
that's red. What we can see.
Exactly.
Yeah, a sea of red.
And that's, just that I just wanted to kind of get that across immediately that, there is the mentality of the people who drive the markets as a whole, who are in fact the institutions, unfortunately, there is still a lot of worry, especially when we consider the larger markets themselves.
Yeah, and I think this was sort of expected because over, the COVID pandemic period, we've seen the traditional market get so overly extended. You can see that on the charts. It was going up in a nice trend. It was going upwards in a nice trend, and then due to the COVID pandemic, when it hit, we saw a massive dump in the whole market, especially the traditional market. And then over that COVID period, we've seen the market get so overly extended, and this is natural, to see the market come back down when we've been so overextended. So this isn't all a bad thing. It's something that the market needs so we can continue increasing in price.
It is. It's a natural part of the cycle, and also one thing we have to bear in mind is like you said, we had a massive pump after the crash, for caused because of COVID and the the panic really. We have to now consider that during that time the Fed built up a $9 trillion balance sheet. They started buying up mortgage-backed securities, they were buying treasuries, and a ton of other assets. And so now what we have to consider is they're going to start selling those at some point. They don't want to hold on to them. So they're going to start unloading a load of cash into the market. And obviously they don't want to do it at a huge loss, but they have to start trimming down their balance sheet at some point, which obviously is going to increase the supply, and that's going to decrease the price of of things that the biggest banks in the world regularly trade. So that's something we're going to have to deal with in the future. But let's jump into some charts here, AJ.
Let's do that.
Story's exactly the same. If we're looking at the charts, I see you've got your Twitter up here.
Yeah, so I posted this over on Twitter. It was yesterday, and I was just, letting you know that there was this symmetrical triangle on the 4 hour. We were testing that support. We were testing a resistance, and it looked like, there was a potential that we could break this resistance. But, as soon as we came into that resistance area, we just saw a massive dump all the way back down to the support. Taking a look at that on the charts right now, we found slight support along that support area. But as of right now, we are seeing that breakdown. And if we take the price target for this potential breakout of the symmetrical triangle, this could potentially take us all the way down to approximately $24,800. But there's something else that I also want to bring your attention to, and this is, with this is including this pattern. This could be, taken as something else, and this could in fact be taken as a bearish pendant. So just taking a look at a bearish pendant pattern here, you can see you normally get some consolidation. You see the flagpole, then you get the pendant right here, and then you get the initial breakdown. And for the price target, you do in fact have to take it from the top of the flagpole to the bottom of the flagpole, and that's exactly what we are seeing here. We've seen the consolidation up here. We have the flagpole, and then we're getting that pendant form right here. And as of right now, we are getting that slight breakout. We can see this also on the daily. If my chart wants to load, here we go. Yeah, so we can also see this on the daily as well. We can see that pennant formation forming. You've got the consolidation, you have the flagpole, then you have the pennant right there. And we still have 9 hours left of the daily pendant, and we still have about an hour left on the 4 hour. But we need to take this into consideration, because this is very, very bearish. On this one here as well, we are getting that break to the downside. So let's have a look at the price target. If we were to break to the downside, so taking that from the top of the flagpole to the bottom of the flagpole, dragging it to the potential breakout point, that would give us an estimate of around $17,000 price target. Now, do I see this happening? No, because I've been talking about all of this support that we have coming in. As of right now, we are sat at this major blue support level here. I don't expect us, I've been talking about this for a while, I don't expect us to break below that $22,000 level. Let me show you why. Because every time we've seen this, we've seen the market pull back, we've seen Bitcoin pull back, we've come and tested this 200 MA. If you don't know what the 200 MA is, it's this blue line along here. And every time, as I've said, every time we've come and had those pullbacks, we have found perfect support along this 200 MA. So I don't expect us to break below this 200 MA. Now, is there a possibility? Yes, if we do break below this, then yes, that $17,000 target, could be in play. But because, in history, we've never actually broken below this. Yes, we've had wicks below this. We've never actually had a candle break below this level, though. So I don't expect us to break this level. We are still on the daily. We are still holding on to this major support, which I've been talking about for a while now. Every time we've come into this blue support level, we have bounced off perfectly. We are in that area right now. We are at that level right now. But as I said, if we do break this symmetrical triangle, we do break to the downside of this pendant formation, then we are going to break this support here. And the next price target that I am looking at is this $22,000 level. My chart loads, there we go. Yep. So if we do break this support, if we do break this symmetrical triangle, if we do break this pendant formation, then $22,000 is going to be my target. I expect us to see a nice bounce. As I've said, in history, every time we've come down to this level, we have bounced off it quite nicely. So I would expect us to bounce off of this level. Now, we could,
Can you just quickly have scroll slightly to the left? See, so in I think it was 20. If you just go to the left a little bit, see where the next kind of So that 2017 high, or 2018 or whatever, end of 2017. Do you think there would be any potential wick support in there? So that level there. Because there's also a little bit of hesitation on that run up after the second green arrow.
I don't expect, as I said, I don't expect the price to get a break below that $22,000 level. But yes, there is a possibility. Back here we did get those wicks. We didn't get a candle break below, but we did get those wicks below. So yes, there's a very high possibility that we could get a wick down to that 20,000, even maybe a little bit lower than that $20,000 level. But as I said, I don't expect to see us get that candle break
I
below that
agree.
$22,000 level. So yeah, and as we've been saying in the previous shows, we are going to be dollar cost averaging down from around 24,000. There is slight support at 24,000, but if we did come down to that $24,000 level, I reckon we would break that and come down to 22,000, because there isn't much support at all at that $24,000 level. So
Yeah.
I anticipate, if we break this support, the very likely scenario is that we are going to come down to that $22,000 level. Hopefully bounce off it. History shows every time we come down to that level, we've bounced off it. So I don't see why we wouldn't bounce off it again.
And again, there's also the addition of having so many different bullish factors now that we didn't have, even when when they were recorded, like 2019, and then later on again, I think around 2020, when it was that COVID crash, that's when we saw the second green arrow that we just had on the screen. So having elements like that, we didn't have the same appeal. We didn't have these multinational companies buying into Bitcoin on a regular basis, but also trying to buy the dip as much as possible. We've got people like Michael Saylor, Jack Dorsey, Elon Musk, Nayib Bukele, who's the prime minister or the president of El Salvador. And there's also, even talk today of African company. I don't remember the name of the project. But I know there was a Central African country looking to become a local African hub for Bitcoin and blockchain technology. And that's happening. We're seeing much, much more of that over, I guess, all over the world. And with the World Economic Forum that's going on currently in Davos, I think that's also going to draw people's attention to potentially what this could do for the world. And people might get a little bit of FOMO, and Bitcoin at 22,000. I'm sure everybody in the comments will try and be buying. Let me know if you would be. But Bitcoin at 22,000, given that it was at 69 not too long ago, that makes me very excited.
It does, yeah. Great buying opportunities, it is. I also want to just show them this DXY chart as well. If you haven't seen this before, this is the DXY chart that we've been looking at for a while. We've got the DXY at the top and we've got the Bitcoin chart at the bottom. Now, in history, every time we've come up to this resistance on the DXY, we've seen a rejection. And on the Bitcoin charts, we've seen a mega pump. So, as of right now, we are getting that slight rejection at the resistance on the DXY charts. However, we are still, seeing we are seeing downside towards Bitcoin, So if we did get this rejection, there is still a possibility that we could see a mega pump in the price of Bitcoin. But as I said, as of right now, we are just seeing that small rejection. What I would like to see for this confirmation of the rejection is to see a nice red candle break below this resistance level.
Yeah, and actually close there, because and this is just like what I said, at the beginning of the videos, that guys, we're looking at, a housing market crash. We're looking at, the stock market. You're going to get capitulation, which is where everyone just decides to sell, even if they're in a loss, because they're just so worried. And obviously, we've seen the fear and greed index. I don't even know what level it is on today, but it's extremely low. And I think, once people begin, or the dollar starts to become, devalued, then that's going to, just like you've shown here, you can actually see it on a chart, mentally, people begin to think, okay, well, if the dollar's not good money, then what might be? And that typically leads us all to go buy Bitcoin. There was also a question here, AJ. How is the volume at this level? So if you just bring up Bitcoin volume, see if we have any.
The volume at this level, we've hardly got any volume coming in. We did have some. We did have a bit of selling volume when we broke to the downside of this this channel up here. When we broke to the downside, we saw a bit of selling volume. But as of right now, we're not seeing the volume that we saw back here when we were down at these levels previously. Back in 2021. So as of right now, we're not seeing a lot of volume at all.
Okay, bit of a shame. Bit of a shame.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to cover off, or should we jump into a bit of Q&A?
I think that's everything from me on the technical side of stuff. It's just mainly at the moment I am just focusing on Bitcoin, because the rest of the altcoins, Ethereum, they're all waiting for Bitcoin to decide what to do. So at the moment I am just focusing on Bitcoin, because that is the decider for the market at the moment, the crypto market at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. And even to kind of add to that, one thing that we're also seeing is that, other altcoins are falling harder than Bitcoin. So
Yeah.
Bitcoin's down by 4.3% in the past 24 hours. Ethereum is 6. And then we have XRP at 6.07, Cardano at 7.6, Solana at 9.5, Polkadot, Doge, both at 6.9, Avalanche 12.5.
Yeah.
So, we're seeing a lot of capitulation. And this is, we're actually really seeing it in the crypto market. Capitulation of people worried about what's going to happen, and they're taking their money out. And that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because if I'm worried, and this is what a bank run is, if I'm worried that it's going to go down, I'm going to take my money out. And just by the sheer amount of people selling more and more, that means the price goes down more, which then AJ, even if he wasn't thinking about it just now he's thinking about it because the price is down even further. So you do kind of need diamond hands if you believe in these particular projects, which I personally do. I'm at a loss with some of my positions. I'm happy to admit that. Like I bought Solana at, I think it was 42. I bought it at, and then I sold it at 57 just recently, and now it's back down. And I'm pretty happy to be buying more, but I'm not going to, because Bitcoin is leading the way. Whatever happens to Bitcoin, there'll then be a couple of days or even a couple of weeks before we see that same effect happen in the altcoins. That's what history has told us before, anyway.
Yeah, until I'm confident, that Bitcoin has hit that bottom, and at the moment, I'm saying that I think that the bottom is going to be around $22,000. Yes, there may be a wick below it, but I'm not going to be looking at altcoins until I'm confident that Bitcoin has hit that bottom.
Yeah. And also, guys, just for those of you who are asking questions, so Esteban, for example, on MacB, I know that you guys have added some questions. Add in your wallet, so it can be like a USDC or whatever, but or just add in your BUSD wallet address, because we're going to choose a wallet address that's been put into the comment section, but on the Binance Smart Chain. So BUSD is probably best one to add there. We did this yesterday, and again, we obviously gave someone $50 for their question, which was very good. Esteban, I am going to come and answer your question. So what are your opinions on the Bitcoin relation to Nasdaq? Do you have that same chart, AJ? A couple of days ago, we went through this.
Yes.
We compared the Nasdaq
It's on my screen right now.
All right, sweet.
Yeah, we did. There we go.
Yeah, so Esteban, I mean, I'll let you explain this, AJ, but you could, every single drop that you see on the top, which is Bitcoin, you also see in the bottom, which is the Nasdaq.
Yeah, exactly. So when you see, we've got the Nasdaq at the bottom. So if every time we see the Nasdaq increase in price, yes, we see the Bitcoin increase in price as well. When we see when we see the Nasdaq decrease in price, we see that again in Bitcoin, and it happens again and again and again. And I know that he mentioned that is it getting stronger, this relationship? I think the relationship between them is already pretty strong, and I don't see that relation, sort of breaking anytime soon, especially with the markets going down so much at the moment. I just don't see that happening anytime soon. So, as the markets continue to decrease in price, I think that relationship, it could get stronger.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Orsini, I see that you have a question about when will the contrarian view come into play. I think that's only going to come into play once we, and just for those of you who don't know, contrarian generally is somebody who's buying stocks as they are going down, or, I guess people think that they're at the bottom, so they start to begin buying. That could be the same for Bitcoin, for any asset. It's basically like the opposite view. So there is a saying that, buy when there's blood in the streets, even if it's yours. And at the moment, I generally, well, like we've said, me and AJ have said the same thing, that we will be dollar cost averaging over the next couple of days. I'm happy to, I will wait. I put in a limit order today to purchase Bitcoin at, I think it was 23,000. So from there, I will be happy to be buying some Bitcoin. And obviously I'll keep it up to date. That's just what I've done for now, because I don't know how far it's going to drop. If we start seeing loads of support at 24, then obviously I'll change it. But yeah, the contrarian view is generally just to be buying when everybody else is, in maximum fear. So think about March, April, during the COVID days. That was the best time to buy. And I'm sure that we're going to be, in a few months, maybe not a few months, I'm going to say like in a year's time, everyone will be looking back like, oh my God, I can't believe we hit that 200 moving average and I didn't buy. What an idiot. Bitcoin was only at 22,000 and now we're over at 100 grand. That's a 5x return.
Yeah.
So I do think we will have a lot of people saying that. And that's why for now, any of the altcoins or Bitcoin that I hold, I'm going to keep hold of, in my separate wallet. But then in my trading wallet, I will be dollar cost averaging in. But currently I'm waiting to see how this plays out, because like you said, AJ, we need a solid confirmation close below that support. In order for me to be, bullish, shall we say? Oh, sorry, bearish, and have I guess it confirmed.
Yeah. So I'll just take another look at that and see what's going on with that. So it looks to be, as of right now, sort of, we are still getting that breakdown. We have around 50 minutes left. So hopefully, we can hold this, but the likelihood of that happening is very unlikely. So I think, we are most likely going to break down out of this. And then, I'm going to be dollar cost averaging, like you said. And my main area is going to be that $22,000 level. I'm going to start sort of be dollar cost averaging around 24,000. But my, biggest buy orders are going to be at that $22,000, because in history, this 200 MA has been, perfect buying opportunities.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely fantastic. Couldn't be anything couldn't put it any clearer. And then again, Esteban, love your questions, by the way, Esteban. We might have a bit of a surprise for you when we have a very, very big launch, guys, just to keep you all up to date. So I mentioned this yesterday on yesterday's stream, but sometime next week, maybe the week after, we've been working on a very, very big project along with Chris, Satoshi Stacker, and we're going to bring something unbelievable to you guys. So we're actually very proud of it. We've been working very hard, and I'm looking forward to, I guess, presenting it to everybody. And I'm sure that it's going to be amazing. We'll have everybody in a great community. But I do want to just answer your question. So yes, you are right. Food shortages, obviously 12% of the calories come from Russia and Ukraine, which can't be exported. Russia's obviously been excluded from the world, and Ukraine are not able to export anything because they're in a war. Inflation, crazy. We're going to have a lot of interest rate hikes. So no one's quite sure exactly as to what those will be. It looks like, 5.5, 50-point basis hikes. Yes, war, recession, whatever. Very, very bad. What's the perspective for Bitcoin as a reserve of value? Do you think this thesis holds true? To be honest, I don't. I think still, because we have to consider these are global problems, and where is most of the money held? It's in the World Reserve Bank, it's in the ECB, it's in, the Fed, and these people, the ones who are actually really making the decisions, printing the money, raising interest rates, these guys are focusing on bonds. And I always think, and also gold. So I think as long as the large institutions are treating Bitcoin as a speculative asset, I don't think it will be a reserve of value. A really good example is if you look at gold, how much that has fallen from its all-time high to now versus how much Bitcoin has fallen from its all-time high to now. Obviously we've got let's say we're 70,000 just a couple of months ago, and now we're at 30. Now we're at 30. That's a significant drop. So that's about 60% drop. So that's not a sufficient reserve of value. If those of us who like it, we might think I can put it there and I can just keep it safe. Have my Bitcoin, and I believe in the future it will go up. But ultimately, we're not hoping that it just stays the same. We're, whether we like it or not, we're speculating that it's going to go up in value, and that makes it a speculative asset, which is kind of the opposite of what a reserve would be. So I'm thinking, gold will still be, just because it's generally what the big institutions like, unfortunately. But there will be a stage, and I saw this graph recently where it kind of goes up like this, and we're about halfway in terms of Bitcoin, but it says, can a currency, or can Bitcoin become like an actual currency? And at that stage, we just need much more price stability in order for it to be seen as a value hold, should we say? That was quite long-winded there. Sorry, guys. I'm glad you're very patient. I hope it made sense, though. So, okay, one more. Orsini, does it seem like the DXY, the Euro, and the Dow Jones possible reversals may indicate a medium-term bottom for Bitcoin? I mean, if they reverse, then yeah, we will see a relief bounce, because that's just confidence in the market. So if we do see a bit of a like especially the Dow Jones, the DAX and the Euro, obviously two currencies. The Dow Jones Industrial Index is an index, so slightly different there. But I think if we do see confidence in the market and people, not just holding cash because they're scared of what's going to happen, and actually putting it into the market, that will be kind of good for Bitcoin and indicate a bit of an upwards movement, saying that it is a bottom. But for now, like I said earlier, with let me just show you that Bloomberg article again, bring it up. You see stocks down, everything's down, currencies. Currencies kind of, some are rising. Bond, the yields are down. Gold and oil is up, and it's just not really good. It looks like the housing crisis is going to begin in the US. So all of those are very negative, in my opinion. So there we go. AJ,
not looking good in general, is it?
No, it's really not. It's annoying though, isn't it? It's a good time to I guess stack some Satoshis,
Yeah.
But there you go. So what I'm going to do is, because we had Esteban being the first person to put his address into the comments, and also the first person to kind of ask a question and also add it in. So I think we will give it to Esteban. Esteban, my friend,
congratulations!
You have just won $50 worth of crypto. Well done. We appreciate your input, and it's obviously great to have some interaction with you guys. For us, we're sitting here, we're talking to a computer screen. We love doing it, but it's great to have some of you guys commenting, and I very much look forward to having our big release. But Esteban, you, my friend, are $50 richer. Not a bad way to spend 30 minutes.
No, it's good time to be investing as well, with the markets down so much.
Exactly. Yeah, it is. It really is. Good time to start stacking your Satoshis and any other altcoins you might like. But anyway, guys, that is everything from us. What we will do is we will take the address that we see here, and then we will send you, and we'll also give you a shout out on Twitter. Okay, Esteban. Oh, there's a fly. Sorry, I almost ate a fly. Not a good end to the stream. But we'll give you a shout out on Twitter, AJ, if you could do that.
Yeah. I'll get that done.
And everybody also, so just make sure that obviously we've called one out today live, did the same yesterday. So just make sure that you add your questions in at the end, put in your wallet address, and get ready to potentially win $50.
Yeah, and make sure you know, head over to our Twitter account as well. Links will be below. Follow our Twitter over there because I'll be keeping you up to date on the charts over there as well.
Yes, exactly. The handle is down at the bottom of the video, as you can see here, scrolling along, or also there's one of the links in the description. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Helps us out massively. So that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Let's do it.
Yeah. Thank you. Smash that like button. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Take care, guys. Thank you.